want people to know you're prepared for this. You don't have stuff. I've seen that close up, to tell you the truth. None of you here. So you plan for this, and how will the staff, will they get this Sabbath? Will they get this rest? Talk about how that'll play out.
So I think there are multiple dimensions when we look at the Sabbath. The thing I'll say is, it's been over 2 years that we've been planning for this. And now it sits here in our face in just a few weeks. So I thank God that we were able to have a Sabbath planning team, a sabbatical planning team.
Yes.
And that included, of course, members of our church council, also members of the congregation, and also staff members. And we brought in some people who had already done it, some churches, some pastors, and had a consultant help us through that process for 2 years. And at the beginning of this year, our chief of staff, Renee Parson, kind of led our team in terms of asking the question, what will this look like for you when the time comes?
Right.
Because we're also trying to provide a gift to our full-time staff. The Sabbath principles and everything is for the entire community, our entire congregation. But our full-time staff, we are all going to recognize Friday as our day of Sabbath, to kind of focus and do things. We have some activities we want to do, but really to take some intentional time to rest. And I thank God for our senior pastor agreeing to that, our church council agreeing to that, we're all on the same page. And so we've been working towards that with the staff. Now, because we are a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day ministry, even though the church office proper will be closed on Friday, there will still be activity on our campuses when needed, because we also continue to have to do ministry. But I will say that God blessing us to be able to have leadership on one page, of not going into this haphazardly, but being able to schedule this over a 2-year period, and now it's here, that I feel like it's going to be celebratory. We are excited. We are, like the church council, when this came about, they said, he has to go. You cannot turn around, because we know how he is, right? In terms of how he loved the people. He has to go. And so we just want to say, I think that, thank God that we're ready in terms of a staff, the structure we have, and everything that's in place. And I thank God that we're ready for that.
And both of you can probably talk too about how you're not really going to miss a beat. There are structures in place.
Yes.
When you talk about the council and the elders and how you all work together. So do you want to talk a little
Yes,
bit
if I might just highlight or summarize that during these 2 years, and for the last year especially, we've had 5 committees that we've established metrics that to see how are we doing. We would trust God. He's going to lead us and guide us through this sabbatical and Sabbath, but that we do have metrics that we're looking year over year. And in 2021, to look back to 2020, how we did is not the best example. So we'll look back to 2019, 2020, and then 2021. How are we tracking with our theology, with our Christian education, with our finances, that we'll keep up with, that we are, again, keeping things in order and decent, that while pastor is gone, we are tracking how we're doing and measuring that.
And for people who might say, okay, I'm used to the pastor doing this or doing that, and you will be overseeing funerals, although you do have a team that does some of that. What do you say? You've got plans for all of that.
Yeah, so what I'd like to say, and I know Pastor probably wants to jump in here. I think the past 6 months, so after Elder Bill shared that all of those teams were together, so Pastor and I have been kind of granular in terms of what that looks like. Right. So in terms of Pastor Jay, who is currently on staff as Associate Pastor of Preaching and Teaching, he will be doing more preaching and teaching. And then we've talked through what it looks like in each department and the roles they will play. And certainly when it comes to kind of how I interact with Pastor Johnson, let me step back and say this. Our structure has been here for 100 years, the church.
Right.
I would say in the past 33 years that Pastor Johnson has been here, and I've been here, over 20 of that there's that structure that has already existed. So it's not like we had to reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
And 6 years ago, we developed what we kind of have is a church council, which is a deacon and elder model. And in that model, what will basically happen in summary, those things that I would normally go to Pastor Johnson for, that would require his input as a senior pastor, I will be working with the church council, someone on the council, for those items. So we've already discussed that. That's already in place. And they've been in place, and so I already work with them a lot.
Yes.
So Elder
Yes,
Bill,
we do.
they'll tell you so. So
We have constant contact.
yes.
We do.
So people may
But
not know.
it's, seriously,
Yeah.
no, we do. We work well.
Yes, yes. And I work with him and the other elders and the deacons. I was just standing out front at the new building, the community center, with Deacon Wright, and so who's our retired COO. So I am excited and thankful to God, honestly, that we have that level of structure, and the fact that Pastor Johnson is now going on sabbatical, that doesn't mean that the church ministry has to stop.
Right.
I mean, that's a testament unto God, I think, and Pastor Johnson's leadership and obedience, that we are able to do that.
And also, Pastor, that says something about your confidence in them, that you feel, finally, although it took you a minute, and it had nothing to do with you guys,
Right.
but he feels he can lead.
Yeah.
What does that say about your confidence
Well,
in
well,
them?
well, Elder Shrewsbury was talking about when he got here 32 years ago. We had one pastor. We had a part-time musician that quit after 30 days with me, and we
So
had
did you have to play?
part-time. We were a cappella at the time.
God is able.
I didn't rush to hire. So then we had a part-time janitor and a part-time clerk, and me. So that was our team. Well, things are a little different now, and we're set up a little different. We've grown through the years. We've learned through the years, and in Acts chapter 6, I know for the most churches in America, black, white, Latino, Asian, whatever, most churches in America see less than 75 people on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Most churches. And so we've been able to grow a little bit. And like the first church, when Peter preached that first sermon, 3,000 people joined. Well, they had 12 pastors. And then after that, another 5,000, and God added daily to the church that should be saved. It wasn't just the Apostle Peter pastored. They had 12 pastors. The disciples those apostles became the pastors. So they looked to 12 pastors, and then they went and got diakonias,
Yes.
who were actually deacons, ministers, servants, exactly.
Right.
They got more servants to come in along with them. So they had multiple leadership. That's the model we've used. We have multiple leaders. Everybody didn't just look to me
Yes.
to do everything, even though we've had a culture as a black church for years of that being so. So we've grown, we've learned. The church has come to understand Pastor Johnson's not going to try to do everything. And here's what when I talk to pastors about our church being ready for something like this, I quote John Westbrook, who's gone to be with the Lord now. He pastored in Houston, great preacher. He said the reason why in Luke 15 that shepherd could leave the 99 sheep and go after the one, find him, bring him back. The reason why he could leave the 99 and go after the one, because the 99 were mature enough to stay together until he got back. So that's another reason I didn't go on sabbatical yet. I want to make sure that we're mature enough to understand multiple leadership, to understand how our church functions, to understand what God has done for the past 100 years. And now we're mature enough so that our church can handle its business while I'm gone for 6 months. And when I come back, I'm sure the sheep will still be here doing it.